So I'm going to prep this. Essentially, the story that we're going to be covering is a Turning Point USA event, and I think it was in Ohio. And Vivek Ramaswamy was speaking there, and he was confronted by some people about his religion.
And most of the people in this room here would leave thinking you were talking about the only true God, Jesus Christ. And God has a name, and Hinduism is a wicked pagan religion. And it's completely incompatible with America. Everyone in this entire room is a Christian. They believe in Jesus Christ. And you've attempted to create this parallel, however tenuously, between Christian principles, Christian moral principles, and these Hindu values. And you look in sacred scripture and you see that all the gods of the Gentiles are devils, and there's only one name under heaven that can give you salvation. So my challenge, I guess, to you going forward would be to say who this God is. Is it Wahaguru, the one that was blasphemously prayed to at the RNC? Is it one of these other Hindu deities, or is it our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ?
Vivek, how often do the leopards have to eat your face? How often? Like, how many times are you going to just walk into the leopard cage at the zoo? It's like, well, I'm sure they won't attack me this time, because this is not his first rodeo when it comes to this.
I love how, as you're bringing up, first of all, I learned recently that leopards eating your face is a tweet. It is not.
Holy shit.
It is not some like tried and true, dyed in the wool, like just classic example of a logical fallacy. It is like a tweet from like 2015.
John,
did you know that?
John, that's so funny you say that, because I was visiting a friend over this weekend and I was talking to them about the leopards, and they were talking about the song. You know, there's a song now. It's like, I never thought the leopards would eat my face. You see that or whatever? And I said, oh yeah, that's an old tweet from back in the day. And the tweet says, I never thought the leopards would eat my face. Sobs woman who voted for the leopards eating people's faces part. Like, oh yeah, I didn't know that, because I was like, oh yeah, that's a very old tweet. It goes way back, and so I'm glad to see that's entered modern lexicon, and that it's assumed to be like an old adage. But I mean, tweets are the modern day proverbs. They are. But yeah,
it really is. I thought it was like an old, not like fucking like from the Bible, but like I thought it was like
it could be.
You know, from just like academic literature, like some like person said it. So no, it's a fucking tweet. And I love, as we're talking about that, Mark says completely incompatible with America. Oof, that's a bad look for Christians and Republicans. Mark, I hate to tell it to you. I really hate to be the one that
Mark,
but it's the leopards eat your face party.
Mark,
this is what Republicans believe. Like, I don't know what you think Republicans believe, but this is what the Republican Party of the United States of America fundamentally believes.
Mark, I don't get it, man. You know this. Like, come on. Like, I was a Republican.
I don't think he does. I think there's a lot of Republicans who do not understand this.
This is like Republican. There's a reason that people always charge Republicans of being Christian nationalists, because they are. That's precisely what they are. It's important that the Bible specifically be taught in school, that we bring prayer back to school, that we have it. Like if they remove, I don't know, like Christian chaplains in the military, that we have religious symbolism. They're fighting for religious symbolism not because they care religion. They just want Christianity. They want Christianity to be the basis of our laws. Like, why do you think there's so many of them are against gay marriage or something like that? This is. Yeah, I don't understand. You're confusing there, Mark.
I would really like to hear what you think the Republican Party stands for when it comes to religion, because they talk about all, like, I never hear a Republican when one Republican like praises God or says we have to do something because of God. I have never heard another Republican look at them and go, "You shouldn't say that. That is wrong. We should not be doing things because of God." I have never heard a Republican say that. I haven't heard many Democrats say that.
Yeah.
At least I've heard some of them say it. But like when you are in the party that has a fucking Nazi flag and no one is saying, hey, we should take that Nazi flag down, you're at a Nazi party. I hate to fucking tell you.
Yeah, Republicans, of course, don't have a monopoly, like John mentioned, on the exhorting a certain religion as the cause celeb. Like, this is what's really important for us, because Democrats do. Democrats are overwhelmingly Christian as well. This just that they're not quite as in your face about it, and a lot of Democrats are a little embarrassed by by it for a lot of reasons. But yeah, it's just, I feel like you always see these mega churches and stuff, and Republicans are always there. They're talking about, like, some of the biggest applause lines you'll ever hear from Donald Trump is we're bringing back Merry Christmas, as if it went fucking anywhere. Yeah, I just don't I don't understand. But yeah, Vivek,
I'm interested to see how he answers this question.
All right, let's go.
I've had a lot harder challenges than this one, so don't pat yourself on the back too hard there. I don't want you to sprain your back with that one. I don't want anyone going home with a back sprain for that. So
we got the joke, Vivek. We got it.
Level with you, man. You run for U.S. president at the age of 37 as somebody who's been in business, who's actually the easiest thing to call myself some Vic Ramsey and pretend to be a Christian. Got other people on that debate stage last time who shortened their names and called themselves to be a Christian too. I'm gonna man up and tell you who I am. And
all right, I'm gonna shit on Vivek later on, but I do remember that we did give him props for that, because honestly, I'm shocked that's not exactly what he did. That he didn't call himself Vic Ramsey and just go on stage and just jettison his Indian heritage, jettison his religion, because who gives a fuck? You can tell them they're Christians. It doesn't matter if you're not a Christian anyway, and roll with it. And a lot more guts than a certain other politician in the Republican Party who did exactly what he's talking about.
believe me, your suspicion is off base. Listen to any number of the campaign speeches I gave, over thousands of them over the course of the last year. So we can take the disingenuous accusation off the table, but level with what I do think is an interesting...
Forthcoming with that. You did not volunteer that information. It had to be pried out.
You
never volunteered that information.
So
you mentioned God.
That's actually
but you
that's actually false.
Omitted his name.
So let me know when you're done, and I can address your question. Good. So watch about the last presidential campaign of last year, and you apparently have had your head stuck in the sand, where it need not be belong. Now, what I think we need more of in our American politic is less of questioning the motivations of what somebody is and get to the content of where there's an actual difference of opinion. So the question of whether or not somebody of a non-Christian faith can embody and lead the United States of America at any meaningful level is an open question. Thomas Jefferson is on the other side of this question from you. Thomas Jefferson was not a traditional Christian. Do you know what the Jefferson Bible is? Exactly.
He's a
Thomas
deist
Jefferson
and a
is a
Freemason.
deist.
He's an enemy of Christianity.
So this is where we disagree, right? Is, as you heard, if you believe Thomas Jefferson is an enemy of Christianity because he is a deist, which is you can just bring the microphone so you can confirm that.
But
yes,
you're
is what
running
he said.
for politics in America.
Right.
And the purpose of politics is the temporal good here on earth. Okay, we're talking about good, and that's an objective thing. So we need laws that are going to govern society.
So you and I have a different point of view on this, and I think that the only point I would make to those who are listening as students, and I'm glad you're stepping up and asking a challenging question. I would advise you to next time leave the disingenuous accusations of motivation to one side, because there's a more interesting exchange for us to have. If you believe that Thomas Jefferson as a deist is somebody who would have been unqualified to be U.S. president, then I guess you and I see the future of the United States of America differently. It so happens that he was the person who signed this document called the Declaration of Independence, which is the greatest mission statement known to a country in the history of mankind, without which the United States of America would not exist. He was the third U.S. president who signed the Lewis and Clark expeditions, without which we literally wouldn't have the United States of America. So if you view him as some type of deviant who should have never been in the U.S. presidency, that's a permissible point of view. It's just not one that I share. And my view is very similar to that of Thomas Jefferson, is that it's the commitment to the Constitution that matters whether or not you lead the country. But the beauty of our nation is that we're able to have different points of view and earnestly engage in an open exchange. And I come down on Thomas Jefferson's side of it, and if you're on a different side of it, the beauty of this country is we let you do that.
All right, John, what are your thoughts after seeing that? How do you think he handled it?
So I think rhetorically, he handled that incredibly well. I thought it was a fantastic answer to a difficult question to answer in a tough position, and he nailed it. However, he didn't really address the question. He just said, hey, we have different viewpoints. That's okay. But he didn't address the argument being made that his viewpoint is wrong. He just said, hey, we got different viewpoints. But he didn't defend his position. He also didn't attack his opponent's position. He just said, live and let live, which I think is kind of emblematic of the problem that we were just talking about. And it kind of goes with Mark's response here. And Mark, I don't mean to get on you. We like you, Mark. But he says, no, I think you guys describe a Republican Party that isn't me. But I'm with Bill Buckley, Wall Street Journal Republicans. We have Jews, Christians, Muslims, Hindus in the right. Free markets, free people. Correct. But you also have Christian nationalists. Those are not compatible views. You have, like this man who was just speaking, a fucking theological fascist. And you don't kick them out of your party. I never hear, and he also brings up Ben Shapiro. I never hear any mainstream Republicans saying this guy needs to be booed out of that conference room. Because if you are for freedom of religion, freedom of speech, if you are for tolerance, you cannot tolerate intolerance. It is the tolerance paradox. Because when the room is full of that guy, Vivek Ramaswamy has the fucking balls. He has the charisma. He has the money to be able to still be a man and profess his beliefs. And he could do that because he's extremely talented, he's extremely patient, and he's extremely fucking rich. But when you don't have those things, well, damn, suddenly you're going to start calling yourself Vic Ramsey. There's so many people throughout history who have done that. And the people who are causing that to happen are the people who aren't kicking the Christo-fascists out of their fucking party. And that's the problem. You can't be tolerant of intolerance if you actually want to promote tolerance.
Yeah, this is with what Mark said here. Shit, I don't know if to talk about Mark first or Vivek Ramaswamy. Well, I'll go with Vivek first. So yeah, Vivek's answer was interesting because he did something that is a smart move whenever you want to argue against Republicans. Because you gotta realize that most conservatives and most Republicans have this reverence for the founding fathers that they won't dare attack. So if you bring up the fact that, well, you know, Thomas Jefferson wasn't a Christian either, and are you saying Thomas Jefferson was a bad guy? I'll
say bit the bullet. I like that he bit the bullet. I'm so glad that the guy bit the bullet and said, nah, he's a fucking enemy of Christianity. He's like, thank you. That's correct. We always say this. I respect that guy so much more.
Yes, yeah, it's a good idea. But he would have to argue that Thomas Jefferson was a bad president, and it's kind of hard to argue that, even if you want to look at it, you know, from a personal point. But as far as like his withholding his performing his duties as the chief executive of the United States, kind of hard to say he fucked that up. So it certainly isn't necessary to be a Christian. And honestly, like I don't know when it comes to this, why they are so insistent upon this, despite the fact that everything we see in reality doesn't support this. It's just one of these things that you have to say. It's like a truism that it's true because it's true, and it doesn't really matter how much you work on it. But with Vivek, I do respect his ability to get up there and say, yeah, I am a Hindu, I have my religion, because the easiest thing to do would be to jettison this. I just don't know, like what Mark was talking about with, that's not my type of Republican. It's certainly the type of Republican that Turning Point USA is. Turning Point USA makes it very clear that they support Christian values. It's important that we instill Christian values and that we spread the message of Christianity throughout the nation. And I would be hard-pressed to find any Republican organization that doesn't explicitly say otherwise. Like, I don't really understand. And I wanted to bring this up since I saw that Mark mentioned that he was a Bill Buckley Wall Street Journal conservative. Is this the one I had here? So I don't have the actual article in front of me, but what did William F. Buckley say about segregation? I wonder, Mark, if you can help me out on that one. Like, when the segregation issue came to light in the United States in the 1960s, when it was hot and heavy, when it was ready to go, what did William F. Buckley say? I'll tell you what he said. He said, well, I think segregation needs to stay temporarily, and then eventually we can find something better at some undetermined point. The exact same thing that slavers said in the South in the pre-Civil War days, that, well, I'm sure slavery won't be around forever, but getting rid of it now, that's too much change. They were conservatives after all. Where was William F. Buckley on the Vietnam War? Well, where in fact, I'm curious what position, like what major positions in the 1960s that William F. Buckley had that you still hold. Because, I mean, the economic ones, I can assure you that's going to be pretty similar to the same one Republicans have, trickle-down economics. But when it comes to like the major battles, the major victories we won, William F. Buckley was consistently on the wrong side of history. It's just like if you want to find out, guys, you can Google the National Review William F. Buckley's article on segregation, or you can watch William F. Buckley's debates with civil rights activist James Baldwin at Cambridge University and listen to James Baldwin's pin drop speech on this. It's just that this is, Mark, you know us well enough by now to know what we're talking about here. It's just that when you look through history or whatever, it just nothing comports to reality in that actually supporting these folks gets us anywhere positive. I don't know where to go from there. But